Okay, this is going to get rather complicated. I'm now in Amos. This is Bill Casey's stomping grounds. This is the office of the Maritime Lumber Bureau. I was here nearly 2 years ago at the first part of August 2005 before I ran for a seat in Parliament again. This was long before the softwood tariff issues were finally resolved by the current mandate of the Conservative government, of which Bill Casey just got expelled from. I left Bill Casey's office and showed him my Nova Scotia driver's license after visiting my first grandchild. My grandchild and my daughter are both constituents of Bill Casey's. Bill Casey was well aware of my false imprisonment in the United States after I ran for a seat in the 38th Parliament. When I came screaming out of that American jail, his assistant only wanted to write my daughter a letter and did not want to speak to her father, me. My daughter named my first grandbaby after a U.S. president. It sounds a lot like Reagan. She says it's Regan, so I call the baby Gop after Grand Old Party. All that said, these folks are amongst many people that were supposed to be litigating in the best interests of all Canadians having to do with softwood tariffs. I crossed paths with many lawyers down inside the Beltway in Washington. Also, the most outspoken opponents of the softwood tariffs was none other than the Sierra Club, their lawyers within it, and the Sierra Club of Canada was founded by Elizabeth May, who called me at the first of the week, and when she lied to me 3 times, I hung up on her. That's what I usually do when a lawyer lies to me 3 times. That said, her underling just called me before I visited the Maritime Lumber Bureau. All that said, there's an entity known as the Federal Competition Act. It's there for businessmen and consumers. They don't do a tap. I've crossed paths with their commissioner. NAFTA is a good example of something I hate. Mulroney put through the NAFTA. One of his old ministers was Bernard Valcourt. He's a drunken maritimer, wrecked his Harley, lost an eye. He was a minister. Now he's the commissioner of the Forest Products Commission of New Brunswick. He will not give me a public hearing. The lady who answers the phone for the commission and does everything is a lady that used to work with these people. I think her name is Mrs. Gold McDonald. I directed these people who ignored me for 2 years to send my material to Bernie Valcourt. They refused. All that said, as we know, Mr. Emerson crossed the floor and settled the softwood tariffs issue, all but a large chunk of change. I forget exactly how much. I think it's $500 million or so, or I forget how much it is. It's a lot of money, and that's retained for lawyers to continue litigating. The key to solving the softwood tariffs is quite simple. He is Senator Max Baucus and an MLA in BC named Bennett. I explained that all to Paul Martin's people before the last election that I ran against his cabinet minister Andy Scott. After the Conservatives got elected, they signed the deal, and enough of our money was kept just for the benefit of lawyers. These people here, Diane Blankhorn, who's the current boss, who's never here, has never returned my call in 2 years, knows everything. So since I visited Bill Casey first, now I visited her first. I gave them a copy of wiretap tape number 139 because I only gave them documents. They're just people, don't need wiretap tapes. Where people say that my wiretap tapes are no good, it's time to prove it to ordinary people. All that said, now we go off to Bill Casey's office. I'm no liar, but it's time to save my dumb butt because the false allegations today against me are absolutely ridiculous. And I repeat, I did not threaten anyone, beginning with T.J. Burke or Gordon O'Connor or any clerk of any committee or the ambassador Dave Wilkins or any host of others that they try to claim that I've threatened. I do not threaten people. I sue them. And the people I sue are lawyers. I do not usually sue ordinary people. All that said, Diane Blankhorn, the yo-yo over in New Brunswick, Valcourt, Gould McDonald, everybody knows everything. It's time that ordinary folks know. Off to Bill Casey's office.